What's up, Nerdfighters? I'm Nerdy Viola. Today is the last day of fandom week, and I wanted to share with you some of the fandoms that I'm a part of, or have been a part of, and kind of why they're important to me. If I got time at the end, I'd also like to talk about fandoms in general, and what I think is good about them and how they influence our culture. So let's get started. I'd like to hit my top 3 fandoms in this video, and I've judged them based off of different things. Either they're the ones that have had the largest impact on me as a person, they're the ones that I've had the most fun with, or some combination of both. I have 3, you can pick out which is which. My first and most obvious choice is the Nerdfighteria community. The Nerdfighters were the very first YouTube fanbase that I was a part of. Now, I was pretty young when I first became acquainted with John and Hank Green. I think I was either 12 or 13. And even though that was only like 2 or 3 years ago, I was a pretty different person then. I didn't really have my own thoughts and opinions the way I do now because I was still young and sheltered, and I never really stopped to think about certain things. I just lived my life and didn't really think about others and what affected them and how I felt about that. Watching the Vlogbrothers and seeing the sort of things that the Nerdfighteria community supported really opened my mind about a lot of things. I credit the Vlogbrothers, for example, for pushing me in the direction of being the LGBT+ rights activist that I consider myself to be today. The Nerdfighter community is just very accepting of all sorts of people, and I realized that I wanted to be the same way. Secondly, I should mention the Markiplier fandom, also known as the Markiplites. This isn't the first time I've talked about Mark's channel in a video, so in case there's a viewer crossover, a significant viewer crossover between my videos and the NFI channel, I'll try not to repeat myself. One of the first times I ever saw Mark in a video was in a YouTubers React episode, but I never actually bothered to watch his channel until I went looking for Five Nights at Freddy's Let's Plays. I'm not a big fan of the game or anything, but I thought it was fun to watch people freak out about it, and because it was so popular, a lot of people had played it. After I watched his series of FNAF, as I call it, and many people call it, I realized that I really liked him as a person and just the style of videos he made. Mark is one of the few YouTubers that I make the time to catch up with now when I'm really busy in school, because not only is he really fun and hilarious, but I find him to be very inspiring in a lot of ways. He and his community have done wonders to donate to charities, like St. Jude's Children's Hospital, some depression and suicide prevention ones that I can't think of the name of any, and like Best Friends Animal Society, all sorts of stuff like that. Mark also talks frequently about how much he loves making YouTube videos and how much the fact that people watch his videos actually means to him. His sort of vibe can kind of rub off on me and make me feel really motivated to make videos, even when I was feeling down about it before. My last choice is Super Hulock. If you're not familiar with the term, first of all, go check Tumblr, I promise you'll find it, and second of all, it is the mashup of the Supernatural, Doctor Who, and Sherlock fandoms. This is my most recent and most prominent fandom, and it all started with Sherlock. I've already seen all the Sherlock episodes, there aren't that many to get through, and it's been a while since I watched them, but I would say that Sherlock is probably the most well-made TV show I've seen. From the production quality, to the acting, to the plot lines, that show is phenomenal. Doctor Who is a little different. I love it to pieces, of course, but it's a little more of a hit-and-miss show, in my opinion. I think the best part about it is that some of its scenes, in particular, and some of its characters are just unforgettable. Plus, there's the fact that it's completely universal. Once you know Doctor Who, you have something in common with like 70% of Western civilization, plus a great deal outside that. That's pretty cool. Then there's Supernatural, which is another story. I'm not afraid to admit that it took me a really long time to warm up to that show. Its first season was pretty bad, nothing in particular stood out to me, and it didn't have the same sort of liberality and more fair representations that the BBC shows did. But the show kind of grew into itself and became a little less prejudiced, I think. The two coolest things about SPN are that, one, its characters are completely flawed and completely lovable at the same time, and two, that show is not afraid to play with its style. but it had one episode that was shot partially like a sitcom, another episode where cartoon physics became real, and another episode where the characters were actually on the set of a show called Supernatural. Not to mention, the show has a completely hilarious and charismatic cast. I would just say, my favorite thing about fandoms is that they are a really great way to, like, unite yourself with other people, because it's hard to make human contact and talk to people and make friends. But if you have something in common, like a fandom, that just opens a world of possibilities to how you can interact with someone. It's just a way to unite a lot of people who have similar opinions and feelings and tastes. And it's really great to see like those relatable posts on Tumblr or just whatever, just interact with somebody over Twitter who you have no idea who they are, but you have something in common with them just because you like the same TV show, you like the same YouTuber, whatever. I know that like being a fangirl is supposedly not a good thing, but I consider myself a fangirl, and it's not a bad thing. I mean, anything can get out of hand, right? But being a fangirl just means that you're a female who can be really passionate about things. And then of course there are like the conventions and that sort of thing where you actually get to meet people in person, and I think that's fantastic. You get to meet other people who are like you, and you just never know where it could go from there. It's definitely a part of our culture, very prominent in internet culture, and it's not going away anytime soon. I know I personally think that it shouldn't. So I think that's all. Hopefully you enjoyed this video. Thank you so much to the NFI channel for having me. This will probably not be the last collab that I do, although it was the first. So feel free to tell me how you thought it was in the comments. I will check the comments of this video. And you can also check out my channel. It'll be in the description if you're interested in seeing more from me. I'm not usually this quiet. So thank you so much for watching.